On the other side of the globe, police say a gang in South Africa abducted Pastor Josh Sullivan late last night. Officers say the gang took him at gunpoint while he was delivering a sermon.
Get ready for scary stories to tell. The vanishing of Pastor Josh Sullivan. The air in Willows Hollow always carried a dampness with it, like the breath of something sleeping just below the soil. Josh Sullivan stepped off the rust-rusted Greyhound bus, suitcase in hand, collar tight around his neck, and Bible tucked beneath one arm. His boots crunched gravel as he took his first steps into the town that would soon whisper his name in fear. He'd come to Willows Hollow seeking solitude, not salvation. That had come already in South Africa, where a mission trip had gone violently wrong. Josh had barely escaped a tribal uprising that left 2 of his team members missing. But that was behind him now. He was here for a fresh start, a quieter parish, a place to recover from the images that still haunted his dreams. The church stood at the far end of town, past crooked homes with porches that leaned like old men. It was small, whitewashed, and partially swallowed by overgrown ivy. The steeple bell no longer rang, rusted and silent, just like the town's spirit. He was greeted by an old man with cloudy eyes and a handshake that lingered too long. "Pastor Sullivan," he rasped. "I'm Deacon Clive. We've been expecting you." Josh forced a smile. "Thank you, Deacon. It's good to finally be here." Clive gave a slow nod, then leaned in closer. "The Hollow's quiet. You'll like it here. Most people stay where they belong, and those who don't." His voice trailed off, and he smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Whispers in the hollow. Josh settled into the parsonage behind the church. It was modest, peeling wallpaper, creaking floors, a peculiar smell of damp books, and something vaguely metallic. At night, the wind pressed against the windows like fingers trying to get in. He began his sermons the following Sunday. Only a dozen parishioners came, mostly old, all pale and watchful. They listened politely but never sang. When he spoke about faith and grace, they stared with hollow eyes. When he mentioned hope, someone always coughed. Then came the letters, folded under his door each morning, written in shaking script. Scripture verses, yes, but always twisted slightly. He who wanders from the way of understanding will rest in the assembly of the dead. Proverbs 21:16. Do not be deceived. Evil company corrupts good habits. 1 Corinthians 15:33. You've brought something with you, Pastor. Josh burned the first few, but they kept coming, and at night the dreams returned. Only now they weren't of South Africa. The eyes in the field. On the 7th night, Josh woke to the sound of humming, faint, childlike. It came from the cornfield behind the parsonage, where the stalks stood unnaturally tall for this season. He grabbed a flashlight and stepped into the cool night, heart pounding. The humming stopped the moment his boots touched the dirt. He swept the beam across the rows. Nothing but corn. Then, a flicker. Movement. A figure standing between the stalks, not moving. Watching. He called out, "Hello? Are you all right?" No answer. Just silence and the soft rustle of corn swaying like breathing lungs. He stepped forward. The figure was gone. The next morning, claw marks were found on the church doors. Long, deep, like nails, but wrong. Josh reported it to the sheriff, a tired man who listened, nodded, and said, "Raccoons." Josh didn't believe him. By the 3rd week, Josh had stopped sleeping. He walked the streets at night, praying under his breath, reciting psalms like armor. Townsfolk watched him from windows. Never spoke. Never waved. Then one morning, a little girl appeared outside the church, blonde curls, white dress, barefoot. She held a doll in one hand, the other dangling by her side as though broken. Josh stepped out. "Are you lost, sweetheart?" She looked up. Her eyes were glassy. No reflection. "You shouldn't be here, Pastor," she whispered. "They don't like your light." Then she turned and walked into the field, disappeared before he could call her back. That night he heard her voice in the walls, singing. This story is entirely fictional, created to raise awareness about the dangers of isolation, hidden trauma, and the psychological toll of past experiences. Well, you heard it here first, maybe second. Always remember, watch over your family and loved ones. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, peace and out.
Pastor abducted while preaching a sermon in South Africa has been rescued.
Megan Pease of the WKRN.com world desk now with an update to a story we've been following all week long, Megan.
Nikhil, Mark, good morning. South African police say 3 unidentified suspects were killed during this rescue operation. These details just in, and this all comes after Pastor Josh Sullivan with connections to Maryville was abducted by armed and masked men while preaching at a sermon in South Africa last Thursday night. South African police have not yet identified the rescued American by name, although a pastor at Fellowship Baptist Church in Maryville posted on social media overnight that Sullivan had been rescued. Investigators say the pastor was being held at a safe house. As officers approached, suspects inside a vehicle opened fire on law enforcement, which led to what they call a high-intensity shootout, where 3 unidentified suspects were fatally wounded. South African police say this investigation is still ongoing. For more breaking news around the clock, head to WKRN.com.